Okay, everybody, quiet. My name's Nick Dunham. I'm a career firefighter. I've been in the fire service for over 19 years now, 20 years next year. I started as a volunteer firefighter, and then now I currently work for Inner City through the Greater Toronto region as a career firefighter. And then I work here as a part-time faculty to teach our students to become future firefighters. So this is December 3rd, live fire, semester 1. You guys are going to be doing orientation burn today. So this is all based off your fire dynamics chapter. So today we're conducting live fire training. And live fire training is basically an opportunity for our students to understand the fire dynamics of fire. A lot of people don't understand that firefighting is not just putting water onto a fire, it's science. So today we're looking for confidence in that environment. We're looking for competency in things like utilizing their PPE and understanding the safety parameters of the fire ground and live fire environments. And then we're also looking that they can understand the safety aspect on the fire ground. Everyone's to stay hydrated, and we'll go through a medical assessment before we go into the cans today. You will be required to drink a bottle of water before you go in there to maintain your hydration while you're inside the burn can. Evacuation signals will all be the same as on the fire ground. If you do hear loud bursts from a fire engine, you are to immediately move to the muster area. And then the burn officers are going to do a final check on the fuel loads and everything before we go out. So at this time, I'm going to designate 8 students at the start. Those 8 students are going to go out to the medical area, get assessed by the 3rd semester students, drink some water, and then you're going to get ready to go down to the burn can. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay? Those 8, stand up. You can head out to the medical area and do your pre-vitals.
While we're in here, I know this is super new to everybody. This is our first burn. This should be exciting. I don't want you guys to be nervous or scared. This is one of the funnest days you guys are going to do throughout the whole year, and we're going to do something similar to this every semester. Okay? You guys can see the logistics that goes into this. This is a huge moving piece that we have to do to make sure we do it safely. If at any time you guys are uncomfortable or you start to panic or anything like that, one of us needs to know. Okay? Do not try and muscle through it. Do not create training scars, and do not try and be a tough guy. You will feel warm. You may feel uncomfortable with this if you're not used to it, okay? But you need to let us know if you're feeling pain, any kind of burning sensation, and I don't mean hot, I mean burning sensation, okay? If that's the case, that's not normal.
Hey, hi, my name is Alana Lakoff, and I am a nursing professor here at Loyalist College, and I'm teaching in the practical nursing program. And this is a 3rd semester lab for our Young Families course.
We're going to be doing a simulation for an infant. We're basically going to be checking it's called an APGAR score. So basically we're checking to see how the baby looks. We're checking to see if the baby has a good pulse. We're checking to see if the baby has a good cry. We're checking to see as well when the baby is stimulated, does it have a grimace? Is it being affected by that stimulus? And I think I'm missing one.
We're also doing the whole baby assessment, head to toe.
We do these weekly. We basically try to put pressure on these students to try to make them think and apply the knowledge they learned in class, get their hands dirty, and really get to see what it's like to move real patients and move a real stretcher while working and getting into an ambulance, so that once they get to the MCI, they know what it's all about.
So today we're learning skills like cardioversion, if someone is in a rhythm or an arrhythmia, like SVT, which is also supraventricular tachycardia.
My teacher Nicole, she does forest fighting up in Alberta, and I kind of got a lot of my inspiration through her and doing Camp Molly at a young age, and it really pushed me towards this career path. Just seeing a ton of other women in the fire service and getting a lot of kind of their input on it, they pushed me in the right direction to be here.
I have no close family in firefighting, but my dad, he's not in the service, but he definitely very supportive. So originally, I remember I was in junior kindergarten and everyone was sitting in a circle, and everyone was only allowed to pick one job on the job board, and all the other boys picked most of the cool ones. So when it got to me, the only one left was firefighter, and then I was like, you know what, I'm going to be that one. And then I was rubbing it in all their faces. And I was like, hell yeah, just took it on.
And I wanted to, start to become a leader that way, have more responsibilities, contribute more to the healthcare that's here in Canada and as well globally. A lot of my family members are nurses themselves. My grandmother was an RPN, my aunt is an RN. Both of my grandfathers, one of which has passed away, is an optician, so they're again dealing with eyes and things like that. My mother has just graduated PSW schooling as well, and my father took PSW the same time I did, so both of us have been PSWs for about 6.5, 7 years. The person who inspired me the most to follow that path would have been my grandfather that had passed away when I was about 17, 18. That really kick-started me to want to go into healthcare and help those who needed help.
And my mom, when I see her taking care of everything, even for the people she doesn't know, and for my friends, for everybody in the family, I was like, she is just way too much. And when I ask her, she's like, that's who I am. It's just the compassion, and I guess it's just a Filipino thing in her blood that they're like, no, I just like taking care of it. But she never thought of making it as a career because she was a housewife. But if she got a chance, she would be in the medical field. Yeah. And that's kind of made me like, okay, if she cannot do it, of course she would want me to do it for something that I really love to do.
That one instance that happens that kind of motivates you to the career. And mine was, I was in grade 5, I was at an after-school program in elementary school, and I fell off the top of a slide, and I fell right on my head, lost some consciousness, and the paramedics were called. And I remember the one paramedic who would have been the attending in the situation, she treated me with such empathy and such kindness. She kind of comforted me in the situation where I would otherwise probably be extremely upset, anxious, etc. That's what really motivated me to the career for sure. I always kind of think back and I always say, I want to be like that paramedic. I want to be that paramedic who shows up and brings that comfort with them and brings that empathy and brings that trust and rapport.
I think I was 13, 14, and I was going home from church actually with my dad and my brother, and we came across what my dad thought he saw a car in the ditch, and we came across it, we turned around and came back, and turns out there was an accident. And this young lady, she was ejected from the car, and my dad then told my brother and I, stay in the car. And then he came across her, probably, I'd say 50 feet in front of the car, just in the ditch, and he came running back and told me to call 911, so I called. she did end up passing away, but I just remember thinking that I wish I could have done something. Like, even though I was so young, I was like, I didn't like that feeling of sitting there and being like, I couldn't, there's nothing I could do. And I wanted to be able to help more, and I never wanted to feel like that again. So that's when I started being interested in going into emergency services. And there's definitely been times where I'm working with patients medically that I realize, like, yeah, this is something, like, I was born to do this. I think a lot of paramedics are able to look at patients who are obviously in a very bad state and they look unwell, and whether there's whatever you see, you're able to look at them, and I can see that this is not, I'm not looking at their problems, I'm looking at them as a person. And I'm looking at them as a patient. I'm not going, ew, like, look at they have their bones sticking out. I'm thinking, oh, this person must be in so much pain, I need to help them. I don't let it kind of get in my head. But I think exposure is definitely one of the big reasons that I've been able to cope with it. And I think I've seen some pretty brutal things. So I think I think this is definitely the right career for me, because it doesn't really bother me. And I mean, of course, it's very important that once that happens, it cannot bother you for a long time, and then one day it's just out of nowhere, it can really bother you. And it's really important to have support systems in place that you're able to talk to people about it.
So lots of different risks or things that, you know, might pose a risk of safety for paramedics. And that could include a variety of things. It can include, you know, infectious diseases. So we teach them very early to protect themselves with the layers of PPE. That can include, you know, wearing safety boots so we don't step on anything or something doesn't fall on our foot, hard hats, high visibility. Other risks can be violent risks, you know, and so sometimes it's planning for an exit or allowing the patient to exit as well. And then of course calling police to help us should we need that.
I'm Dallas Dana. I'm one of the nursing faculty here, and I teach in the practical nursing program. And I'm a registered nurse. Training really starts in the classroom, right? As nursing students and just nurses in general, you have to have that baseline theoretical knowledge. And then all of that is really important in preparing them for an MCI.
Running through those sims really puts the practical skills that we learn into practice. So, and having all those different kinds of patients, including the pregnant woman, was really nice to have that tied in.
Having to completely pivot what they were doing, like, that is the reality of healthcare. You know, you think things are gonna go one way, and guess what? You walk in and, you know, your patient's on the floor, and you quickly have to shift everything that you were doing. So I think that's such a critical learning opportunity for the students. That
you almost can't teach that. You have that experience.
They need to experience that firsthand.
I will tell you, nothing scares a nursing teacher more than a student who's not nervous or a new grad that's not. Right? Even I've been a nurse almost 30 years. If I walk into any healthcare experience, I have a low level of what's going to happen here. I'm not really sure. I don't know everything. And I think that's healthy.
I feel like I smell like fire. It's about it. Nothing too much of a major difference.
Feel fine. Smell definitely like fire. Just a really cool experience, and it's nice to see how the fire moved in there and to study that kind of not hands-on, but visually get to see it. So feel good.
The gear all has to integrate with it to allow them to not experience any thermal injuries like burns and stuff like that, or exposed to chemicals if it's something hazardous materials related, and all of it integrates. In standards, you have to be, from what I'm wearing now, street clothes and in gear on air, ready to work in a hot zone, because in this program, and programs like it across the province, our students are actually in hazardous environments. They go into burning buildings, or burning facilities, they go into, or they fight via working car fires. They cut cars apart. They do all these things that have hazards, right? And because of that, safety has to be paramount. They could experience burns. They could experience inhalation hazards by breathing in smoke. And it's not over the top.
it's pretty standard in the service, but because we're wearing all the equipment, it's our extra weight. They're carrying tools that are heavy. They're working in an environment that's already strenuous to the body. When you go into a heated environment, your heart rate automatically climbs because it's trying to cool your body. We can do everything that we want to keep everybody safe, but accidents happen.